A biscuit is a baked and shaped food product made from flour. In most countries, biscuits tend to be firm, flat, and unleavened. They are usually sweet and can be made with sugar, chocolate, icing, jam, ginger, or cinnamon. They can also be spicy, just like crackers. Types of cookies include sandwich cookies, digestive cookies, gingerbread cookies, shortbread cookies, chocolate chip cookies, chocolate marshmallows, Anzac cookies, and speculoos. In most of North America, almost all sweet and hard biscuits are called biscuits, while the term biscuits is used for a soft, quick sourdough bread that resembles the less sweet version of the scone. The need for food that was nutritious, storable, easy to transport, and durable on long voyages, particularly at sea, was initially met by bringing live food in with the butcher/cook. However, this took up additional space on mounted or small ship expeditions and shortened travel times before additional provisions were needed. This led to the first armies adopt a hunting-gathering style. The introduction of cooking processed grains, including the manufacture of flour, provided a more reliable source of food. Egyptian sailors carried a flat, flaky loaf of millet bread called dura cake, while the Romans had a sponge cake called buxellum. The Roman cookbook Apicius describes, a thick paste of fine wheat flour was boiled and spread on a plate. When dried and hardened, it was sliced and then fried until crisp, then served with honey and pepper. Many early physicians believed that most medical problems were related to digestion. Therefore, eating biscuits on a daily basis has been considered beneficial to health, both to maintain and to prevent disease. Hard biscuits soften with age. To solve this problem, early bakers sought to create the strongest cookie possible. Because it is so hard and dry when properly stored and transported, marine's hardtack survives rough handling and elevated temperatures. When hard-boiled, it can be kept for years without spoiling as long as it is kept dry. For long rides, the hardtack was baked 4 times, not twice as much. To soften the hard-to-eat biscuit, it was often soaked in brine, coffee, or some other liquid, or baked in a pan. The collection of Proverbs of the Desert Fathers mentions that Anthony the Great, who lived in the 4th century AD, ate sweets, and the text suggests that this was a popular food among monks of that time and region. During the Spanish Armada in 1588, the daily allowance aboard a Royal Navy ship was 1 pound of biscuits plus a gallon of ale. In 1667, Samuel Pepys was the first to regulate the naval supply of various rations and nutrients. Queen Victoria's Royal Navy hardtack, manufactured at the Royal Clarence Victualling Yard in Gosport, Hampshire, stamped with the Queen's seal and the number of the kiln in which they were fired. When the machine was switched to the process, the dough was thoroughly mixed and rolled into sheets approximately 2 meters, 1 inch, in length, 0.8 m, long, and 1 meter, 0.9 meters, wide, which were punched into approximate 60 hexagonal biscuits at one time. This made the sheets cohesive enough to be placed in the kiln as one piece and easily separated after firing. The hexagonal shape, instead of the traditional round biscuits, meant less material and was easier to wrap. Biscuits remained an important part of the Royal Navy diet until canned food was introduced. Canned meat was first marketed in 1814. Corned beef was officially added to the Royal Navy's rations in 1847. Pastry cookies. The first biscuits were hard, dry and unsweetened. They were usually baked after the bread in the baker's refrigerator. Oven, they were an economic livelihood for the poor. By the 7th century AD, the cooks of the Persian Empire had learned from their ancestors the techniques of thinning and enriching bread dough with eggs, butter, and cream, and sweetening it with fruit and honey. One of the first spiced biscuits was the gingerbread, pain diabetics in French, meaning spiced bread, and brought to Europe in 992 by the Armenian monk Gregory of Nicopolis. He left Nicopolis Pompeii in Little Armenia to live in Bondaroy, France, near the town of Pithiviers. He stayed there for 7 years, teaching French priests and Christians how to bake gingerbread. It was originally a thick syrup cake or bread, made from molasses. Because they were so expensive to make, early ginger biscuits were an inexpensive way to use up leftover bread. With a combination of knowledge spreading from Al-Andalus and then the Crusades and the subsequent spread of the spice trade to Europe, cooking techniques and ingredients from Arabia spread to Northern Europe. In the Middle Ages, biscuits were made with a sweet and tangy breadcrumb paste and then baked in the oven, e.g. King Richard I of England, also known as Richard the Lionheart, set out on the Third Crusade, 1189 to 1192, with a muslin biscuit which was a mixture of cornmeal, barley, rye and beans. With the advent of sugar and the increased refining and provision of flour, the opportunity to try quieter foods, including sweet biscuits, has also increased. The earliest records from Vadstena Monastery show that Swedish nuns baked gingerbread to aid in digestion in 1444. The first documented trade in gingerbread dates back to the 16th century, when it was sold in monastery pharmacies and at farmers' markets. Gingerbread became widespread in the 18th century. The Industrial Revolution in Britain spawned businesses in a variety of industries, with British confectionery companies McVitie's, Carr's, Huntley and Palmer's and Crawford's were founded in 1850. Chocolate and biscuits have become mass-produced by the Industrial Revolution and the consumers it created. By the mid-19th century, sweet biscuits were an inexpensive delicacy and business was booming. Manufacturers such as Huntley and Palmer's in Reading, Carr's of Carlisle and McVitie's in Edinburgh have grown from small family businesses to modern-day operations. Polly Russell in the Financial Times, 2018. British biscuit companies vied for market dominance with new products and attractive packaging. Decorative cookie jar invented by Huntley, and in 1831, Palmer's saw British biscuits being exported all over the world. In 1900, Huntley and Palmer's biscuits were sold in 172 countries, and their global reach was reflected in advertising. Competition and innovation among British firms resulted in 49 patent applications between 1897 and 1900 for biscuit-making equipment, boxes, pasta cutters and decorating molds. In 1891, Cadbury filed a patent for a chocolate-covered biscuit. In addition to local farm products in the form of meats and cheeses, many parts of the world have their own style of biscuit due to the historical importance of this food form. Introduction to South Asia. Biscuits and bread were introduced to Bengal during the British colonial period and became popular among the Sylheti Muslim community. However, the common Indians of Kutcher and Sylhet were very suspicious of biscuits and bread, believing that they were baked by Muslims. Once, Kutcher's Indians caught an Englishman eating biscuits with tea, causing a riot. The information reached the Hindus of Sylhet and a small rebellion ensued. In response, companies have started advertising their bread as machine-made and untouched by the Muslim hand, tell the Indians that the loaves are safe to eat. This incident is mentioned in the autobiography of Bipin Chandra Pal, who recalls how Indian eating habits gradually changed and eventually biscuits and bread became more popular. If you liked the video, don't forget to press the like button and activate the subscription button on the channel. In most English-speaking countries, a biscuit is a small, hard product that might be called a cookie or crackers in the United States and sometimes in Canada. Biscuit in the UK, Isle of Man and Ireland are usually hard and can be savory or sweet, such as the term biscuit generally refers to a single type of biscuit, a sweeter baked cake, usually containing chocolate chips or raisins. However, it can also refer locally to specific types of biscuits or breads. In the United States and parts of Canada, a biscuit is a quick bread, somewhat similar to an unsweetened scone, but chewy and crumbly in texture, against strong and fragile. Cookies may be referred to as powder cookies or butter biscuits if you use buttermilk instead of milk as the liquid, because buttermilk is not only tasty but also sour. This allows you to use baking soda, which is a mixture of baking soda with an acidifier and a buffer, instead of baking powder. A southern regional variant with the term schlagkeks, or sea biscuit in New England, is closer to a biscuit than a soft biscuit. In Canada, the term biscuit may concurrently refer to what is commonly called a biscuit in the United Kingdom or United States. The Canadian Oxford Dictionary describes each word in relation to the next. Cookie can mean British. Cookies and cookies can mean an American sweet cookie. Tea cookies is also the Canadian standard for North American cookies.